in the Atlantic, one of the weaker divisions in terms of win-loss and allowing them to take all those. And if you look at the flip side there at Orlando Invictus, they're a team that have really battled to get here, specifically in their round one against Honolulu. Lost the first map, went on to have a really nice comeback, and they're going to be hoping to ride that momentum. And now we're jumping right into game number one. I don't believe map bans were up on the screen, but if you didn't catch it, we are going to be playing on Clubhouse here. And that was actually the one map that Orlando lost in their matchup against the Heat.
I do believe it was a close game, 7-5, if I'm not mistaken. I can just double check.
7-4.
7-4. 7-4. So,
I mean,
not a bad loss by any means. I don't know what picked this map, which team did. I'm guessing it would be a play from Chicago to say, hey, Orlando are weak on this map. We can just take them here, get that first map out of the way just really quickly, set the pace, set the tone. Chicago going to be starting on the attack. And we're going to see Habana and Dokkaebi ban. The Dokkaebi ban is something I've been seeing a lot more of, and I'm not sure if I'm here for it. Dokkaebi is an annoying operator to deal with, but hacking cams, being so swingy, it does make for some, gives the attackers a lot more tools to work with. Habana ban just makes a lot of sense, though, especially for the downstairs area, being able to protect your hatches a little bit better, making it so it's easier to impact trick, and sometimes Cade Claw, Cade will also be banned in turn.
yeah, the Habana ban really smart there for Orlando because when you do look back at their matchup in the previous week, they started on defense on Clubhouse and they lost 4 rounds. Clubhouse, obviously a little bit of a defender-sided map, so only getting 2, not something you want to repeat. I like this pivot they've made. That Habana ban, so useful on the downstairs site where there's so many hatches around the map. I think it's a really smart choice by them. The other smart thing we're seeing, they're going to let Fenrir go all the way through, opting to ban out Solis instead. Already Staplo Mike, who, if I'm not mistaken, is definitely one of the top fraggers here for Orlando, going to be using that MP7, hopefully for them, to great effect.
Attackers need to
Fenrir is a
locate
strong
and defuse
operator,
bombs.
strong gun, strong gadget. We've harped on it enough, but I haven't seen a lot of it. A lot of times it's banned, and that's the last we see of the character. So the fact that it slips to the ban phase is not surprising, considering its Clubhouse is a lot operators on the board. I mean, Clubhouse is one of those maps where I can see a pulse ban even some days. So the fact that you gotta get Solus out of there, you gotta get Cade out of there, protect your hatches and all that, or to be able to get to the hatches. Period. It makes a lot of sense, but it's gonna be up to Chicago to see how they deal with this. It's an operator that you can't really just hard counter. You can't just pick an operator and counter it. Maybe Twitch helps, which we now see X9 swap off to, but it's an operator you're just gonna have to deal with in the round, and you're gonna have to play around what they.
Gonna have to. We do see an Asho, so Spray is gonna be able to expend those breaching charges for the Fenrir mines if they're locked up. Probably not something you want to do as an attacker, but it's always nice to have that option. Speaking of Ash, making very quick work heading over to, I would expect, Logistics Hatch. No, might just be looking to get down those castle barricades early on. Didn't bring breach charges, so only going to be able to use that mini bazooka there. Already uses both charges, trying to put some pressure on early. One member in bathroom believe it's going to be the mute here on Nick Lovin. Does Nick even know the window's open? Hasn't looked that way. They've got to.
I'm sure the audio call has India out there. He's looking straight at it. But a grenade to go through. Well, Mai is on the first. There's grenade denial, but just finding the hole in the defense like that, and so quickly, Chicago take 2 kills right off the board. So now in the driver's seat, Orlando are going to have to fall back, play these Miras, play whatever utility they have left. These Fenrir mines, these Wamai gadgets, and if a Mira is still on the board, I believe that one in the corner there is shot. So, gotta play back, gotta be as passive as possible and play together.
They get 2 kills, but now gonna drop. Zai gets 1, Stoplo might got another before they went down. So now it's a 2-on-3. Orlando on the wrong side of it, too. If Sledge would have lived there, would have been a really nice entry into sight. And the Iron Sight's MP7 gonna have to dispel that. I believe it's still Ash here. Spray is still sitting outside that main window. And Zai's gonna go down. Now it's all on Stoplo Mike. Bit of trying to work up there, but Sprays gets both of them. The Ash closes it out. And Chicago Playmakers coming to play, take the first round. Convincing fashion, now up 1-0.
2 very quick kills from Chicago to open up the round. Orlando didn't have any response. And so, especially on a site like Bedroom, where once the attack has control, it's not impossible to take it back, but once the attack really gets a foothold and can really, start putting pressure directly on the site, start risking a plant even potentially, that's when the defense are going to have a lot of trouble. Orlando, they had two of their big players fall off the board quickly, and they had some utility to play behind, but not enough. And so Chicago could just throw bodies at the issue. I mean, you saw it. They traded 2-for-1, and that still ended up in their favor because now it's in a 3-2, and Orlando don't have the positions to really hold onto the site there. The basement is a much different story. You're going to have a lot of players who can play back. You're going to have to take your time as Chicago, open up a lot of angles from above, open up the hatches, and then you're going to have to pinch from both sides of the basement in order to get anything going. So Orlando, as long as they don't risk too many opening kills, they can hold off here. They don't have to worry. They can play, for the late round, play time. Because that round was over and done like a minute in.
It was, and speaking of, only like 30 seconds in, we saw Nick Love in there on the mute fall in that bathroom. And they brought Omai round one as well. They're going to repeat it now onto Nick instead of the mute there. But no magnets to catch that grenade throw from Sledge, and what I'd imagine is a pretty common angle, just the main window into the bathroom. Really, really surprised they didn't have any utility up to help stop that, especially with the operators they picked. So hopefully this time a little bit more adjusted. Yet again, 20 seconds in, Jackal already on the main hatch. Can't open it, of course, but Chicago making some very fast entry, and this is one really common gripe with a lot of teams, is that they can spend like 2.5 minutes without even entering the building. Not the case here, though, as I don't believe there's anybody roaming from the Invictus. Steptronic might be the only one, and even so, just on the stairs there.
This position can be difficult to clear out. They do know he's here, and they do know he's fallen away. Jackal's most likely going to stand them lead. There we go. Warden is identified. They know he's fallen back to the site. Assuming the drones from Chicago have been doing what they're supposed to, that's going to mean that Chicago know they have up top control. They know no one else is rolling, and they're just going to start this vertical attack, just making very good time. So once we open up all these angles and open up all these hatches, Orlando is going to be pressed to find positions that are safe to play, and Chicago are going to have to flush them out with these grenades that they're bringing. Actually, no grenades at all. So it'll be flashbangs and gunfights for the side of Chicago.
Those gunfights might break out soon. Stoplo Mike still sitting here on the Mira, and there goes Steptronic, the one member that was maybe poised to push out of sight, gets taken down by Scatter. And now, blue team pushing into blue tunnel, but a great shot through the smoke by the Mira, shuts down Sprays. Went massive in round number 1 with 3 kills. Not gonna happen again, though. Chicago have everybody push into the basement. In a minute 10 to play with. But look, they're out of hard breach charges. They have to push from doorways and stairwells. There is going to be no hatch play. Here from the Playmakers, maybe neglecting bringing something like a thermite. Might not matter though. Push is going to take down Zai. Going to get traded out yet again by the Mira. Headshots ring through onto Nick Love, and there goes Amai. But one more kill now coming from Quizzy. It's a 2-on-2 with 45 seconds. Running up to blue, punches the Mira. Can they find the shot? No, turns her back. Mira can't land all the bullets. Push still alive. Still not focused on the Mira. Might pay for it. Stoplo Mike gets a kill, and now it's all on Scatter. Chicago Playmakers let 2 people demolish all 5 members, and now only 30 seconds with this buck to try and push on in. Mira is punched, so no sight. Can they land the shotgun shots? No, they cannot. Stoplo Mike with a third of the round, and what a comeback there from the Invictus.
The hatch wasn't open, and I'm betting on anything that was part of the attack strategy, opening up that hatch, opening up all that floor. All of a sudden, Orlando have no response to someone just dropping that hatch. But Orlando, they saw this as early as the ban phase, okay? Habana is not on the board. What is the best way to open up hatches on Clubhouse? Habana. What's the best way to counter hard breach on the hatch? Impact nades. I believe I saw 6 impact nades from Orlando. And Orlando were all on site, ready to impact trick the hatch at any moment. And once Chicago put down their only 2 hard breach gadgets on that hatch, they instantly got taken off like that, and Orlando were in control of that round, able to play together on site, 5 guns playing each which way and ready to back each other. Chicago made a good run of it, despite being at the utility difference, but Orlando just had such a strong position, and Chicago, they just didn't find any way to break that stalemate.
They didn't. Luckily for Chicago, though, Orlando now forced to go back to a site where Chicago looked really, really dominant on, of course, back to Gym Bedroom. And a slight switch up this time. They're going to take the Frost instead of the Fenrir here on defense for Orlando. But I think it kind of brings me back to that same problem we saw in round number 1. Feel free to weigh in here. But a lot of the work was done from the windows, and yet again, it doesn't look like Orlando have really adapted to that. It's almost exactly the same lineup, except for maybe a Frost mat to slow them down for 2 seconds before they jump in. I'm really worried they're going to lose some early picks through those bedroom windows.
At the end of the day, it's really hard to hold those windows. You have to just assume they're going to get opened up at some point, right? It's almost like playing CCTV, where you can put a lot of utility on that wall, but you have to be ready for it to be opened. You can't just hope it doesn't get opened and base your entire strategy off that. You have to know these windows are going to get opened, they're going to get opened quickly, and throughout the mid-round and late rounds, you're just going to have to deal with it. So, luckily, Orlando most likely have a way of dealing with it, especially with this roam into the office. I call it a roam, but it's basically a site extension. You're going to be playing just slightly off-site, holding one of the avenues of attack from Chicago. And if they can hold this for a long period of time, they can really put a damper on the attack, and they're doing a good job of it so far.
And Grim, curiously, really sacrificing a lot of HP to get the location of a mirror where they already knew they were. Maybe just trying to force them off that mirrors. Now Stoplo Mike can take a little bit of damage. That's going to be from Scatter here trying to push in. The call's been made. They know they're on the other side of the mirror. Is this Grim going to be able to drop and land some shots? Logistics, like you said, just a side extension. So important. Quizzy going to lose health. Stoplo Mike going to lose their life. Now the castle down 5-on-4, 5-on-3 unless the castle gets picked up though. Drop from Logistics is going to net a bit of HP. X9 takes down Steptronic. Nick Loveman with the shotgun though. Shuts down Sledge on the stairs before being traded out immediately by X9. It's going to be a double for the Grim. Logistics works, sprays with the last 2. And yet again, Chicago cannot slow down on Jim.
It could be a hard site to hold, and Chicago made it look so. I mean, they made it look easy to attack, and it's not easy site to attack. It's just hard to hold, I'd say. There's a big difference. Chicago made it look easy, though. They make it look effortless. They're coming from every angle. They're winning on all fronts. They're closing in the site like a constrictor and just pressuring all these Orlando members into really bad positions and then killing them. You saw the Mira. Couldn't play behind her Mira anymore because of Grim. Grim spotted them with the bees. They hopped over, tried to play construction, and instantly there was 1 or 2 members from Chicago, one on the window, one in cash. Mira couldn't go left, they couldn't go right, they couldn't keep either angle because you have the other player across, and Mira was basically forfeit at that. There was nowhere Mira was going to go, and so they kind of just tried to swing out, take a gunfight against the person on the window, got cut off by the person in cash. That was a textbook play, got them their opening kill. Another kill came to follow, and just like that, Chicago gets the ball rolling, and Orlando cannot stop their moment.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, another really, really strong round there from the Playmakers. Now Orlando going to go on to CCTV, which, curiously, for so long, was always just, you know, the site on Clubhouse. That's where you went first round. It didn't matter what team you are. Now we're seeing a lot of teams really switch it up, so hopefully for the Invictus, still defender-sided enough to come out with a round win here before they can go back to the basement. And now 2 members into the basement early on. Speaking of, that's going to be Sledge and Nook. And Castle still trying to set up this bottom floor here. Gonna be right by that staircase. There's some potential there for a really early pick. Once again, it's a much less site-heavy defense this time. Here they come up the side stairs. Castle doesn't see it. Do they hear it? Barricade here. They can just sledge that out of the way. Will to not get the kill. They know they're there. That should be a dead Castle. But no, gets away. Oh, finally got him through the garage wall. Sprays with the opening.
Yeah, a Sledge is a 3 armor now, so it's going to be very easy to hear. Meanwhile, trades are coming every which way. Chicago are winning their gunfights on all fronts. Once again, an X9 up the red stairs. Can't get the kill on the view, but Stop Lil Mike is the last one left with 3 people to find. Can't even find Sprays. Sprays is on a tear today so far, and he doesn't look to end anytime soon.
Not really spraying either. Very, very controlled stream of bullets there. Every single one just finding their target. Spray's doing a really nice job early on. Yet again, Stoplo Mike has to be the hero for the Invictus and can't do it this time. And this is concerning. I mean, not only because it's 3 offensive rounds already for the Playmakers, which doesn't really happen on this map, or I guess it shouldn't really happen on this map, but the way they're winning these attacks, they're not doing anything crazy strat-wise. They're literally just taking gunfights, and they're winning. And when they're on defense, of course, they're gonna have that innate advantage, not having to push, being able to hold angles. Makes me really worried for if Orlando's gonna be able to turn this around. We need to see them take these last 2 if they want any hope of winning this map.
Chicago haven't been doing anything flashy, but under the hood, I see a lot of team coordination. Everyone's getting droned in. People are playing together. You're not seeing a lot of refrags, but Chicago also aren't dying a lot, so it's kind of hard to get refrags and people weren't dying. So I'll forgive them for not getting the 1 or 2 refrags that they could have gotten. So Orlando in a rough position. Chicago are just winning on most fronts. They're losing strategy-wise. They're losing, in their gunfights. And they have a Mira available to them, which is a very strong operator, and they've been bringing it to most rounds. They just haven't been able to fully utilize it. There's a lot of times where I feel like Mira should be completely cutting off a push, or, a Fenrir should be really helping them. The Frost Mats should be, providing some extra protection from players hopping in, going for gunfights. And none of this utility is really panning out. We saw the first round, Womai not catching a thrown grenade, clearing a critical player out, and that's just Chicago playing better utility games. So Orlando need to win it somewhere, and I think they should start trying to, tighten up this utility game, try to play important operators, and, really get the most out of them.
Not gonna get the most out of those impact grenades from the Vigil, though. They brought 6 again, just like they did in round number 2. The 2 off the board, and looking at the Playmakers, we talked a little bit about strats, but this time they're gonna bring the ace, and they have 4 hard breach charges, so hopefully for them should be able to get some of these hatches open. But then again, they're still facing down that Mira, which has been so troublesome, but one already popped on the church wall. It's gonna make it much harder for this Legion to play. Luckily, though, has 2 angles on that wall. With Sprays getting closer, might be able to find a pick onto the Nook. Gonna have to try hard, though. Buck above might create a lot of pressure, but it's an early motor drop here from Ying, pushing in, blinded by the Dreadnought, and gets killed immediately. Quizzy picks up Sprays as well. That's a Legion on knock there on the main stairs. 3 on 4 yet again. What are the Playmakers doing? They're pushing into every Fenrir mine there is. The Twitch almost dies, lucky to be alive. And I get they like to play fast-paced, but this is a little bit reckless here from Chicago, and now they're going to lose their Twitch. Oh no, gets a shot on the Mira! Oh, completely had me fooled. Okay, I won't disrespect you, Push, anymore.
5 and 4, that kill puts them into positive KD, so 3v3, they're setting up, slowing down, trying to figure out what the next course of action is. Is it going to be just blind swings in the church? No. They're going to take a quick peek and then fall off. They have to flush this player out somehow. Ace alone needs a teammate to back them up, and they're not going to get it. Actually, no! Bidoff will get the kill. You push down on the other side, though.
And Bidoff was the one to down a Pooch. I don't think Invictus saw. Now pushing out, they are going to get it. That's going to be Quizzy, but now only Nick Lovin. The old mutant now on Mamai trying to make something happen. Doesn't see the ace planning. Finally going to find the shots. Oh my gosh, one alive, but Scatter so far away, uses the gun to take out the barbed wire. But the Bucks so late in pushing in with the team. Like you said, they've been coordinated this whole time. But now they're not. Shot's not going to ring out. Nick Lovin either didn't see him or didn't go for the spray. Now look in the wrong direction, though. My, so many angles. Skeleton Key gonna give it away. Steps on a Legion mine as well. Nick Lovin can just wait this out. Scatter knows he can't plant. Does he look in the right corner? No, he doesn't. And that's gonna be Nick Lovin to get the kill. Invictus one more time, barely hang on to win this church. And give them their credit. They've won it both times now.
That was a much tighter round. I liked what Chicago did to adapt. They brought more hard breach gadgets, and they used Twitch to clear the mirrors. Now, that's kind of unreliable. Twitch can get shot, and it's very hard to get your drone into sight, shoot the mirror off without getting it destroyed. Then if you want to try to use it later, well, I mean, it's kind of dangerous to try to use that, Twitch drone to get like all this utility, especially those Grim Mines that really had an impact on the round. Ying could have definitely burst into church, taken Orlando by surprise, but a well-placed Finner mine really put that push in its place. So Orlando using that utility a lot better, and well, Chicago, even though they're winning, they're making adaptations where need be. They realized they didn't have enough hard breach gadgets the last time they attacked the basement, so that time they adapted. They brought 4 instead and made it a lot harder to impact it. Didn't matter at the end of the day. I like to see that. Even when you're in the driver's seat, you still want to be trying to do your best to be ahead of the enemy team.
Like you said, some good adaptations from the Playmakers. Still a little bit surprised we saw them walk into so many of those Dreadnought mines. Because those things, I mean, if you take your time, they're pretty easy to spot on drones. There's really not a whole ton of super sneaky places that those are going to be outside just hatches and doorways. So maybe using a little bit more time. I think we commented early on about how quick they are into the objectives, how much time it gives them to work with, but maybe that time could have afforded just using a few more seconds to drone out, and they're going to have to work through it yet again. Zai back on the Fenrir here. This upstairs site, and this time they don't go for a Mira, and I think that's the right play. They've tried it now on 3 upstairs sites. I don't think any of the defenses have looked good. They need to change it up here, and this Ela is going to be so crucial. Breach charge is going to take down the Castle Barricade, but no, Mute Jammer stops it for now.
This is a strange extension into Cash Room. They're using Goyo to slow it down. They've reinforced off every wall,
Castle's down again.
Their roam game hasn't been the issue. It's been losing these early picks to players on the window and losing this utility game. Funai will go down. He's still on the floor, and these gunfights are all going the way of Chicago still.
Now Ela completely boxed in, taken out by the sledge. Yupuch been on an absolute tear these last few rounds. Quizzy will get revived, but only on 20 HP. Castle now climbing into the gym. Back through the bathroom, that's going to be the Fenrir of Zai. Actually takes a little bit of damage. Finds a kill though, shuts down Sledge, and the frag grenades off the table. Great pick there for the Invictus. But now they've lost a lot of grounds. All 3 of them forced into that hallway. Stop low Mike on the stairs. Quizzy and Zai in bathroom in the hallway, respectively. They can't go anywhere. They're completely shut down by the windows and angles on all sides. Got to hold out for a minute 20. I don't know if they can. Twitch trying to make entry here. We'll come across Double Mike on the stairs. No, barely misses. Trying to exchange some shots. Is going to end up downing the Fenrir. One more kill rings through, and yet again, it's all on the Mute. Can Mike do anything? No, he cannot. Chicago Playmakers go up 4-2. 4 incredibly steamroll heavy attacks.
It happens. This is Clubhouse. You can see a lot of times on Clubhouse where when those sites just aren't connecting, you'll see 4-2 attacking halves. The issue now is that you have to run it back. If Playmakers are the team that they have made themselves out to be in the main season, they're going to be solid on at least 2 sites. And if they're solid on at least 2 sites, we're looking at a 7-3. Chicago really want that 7-3. They want to close this map out quick and just move on to the next, because the next map is not their map. The next map is the one that, you know, you're supposed to struggle on. You're supposed to really have to take your time and outbox your opponent at every level. Chicago, they're getting a lot of the easy stuff out of the way first. So Gym is going to be their first up. They're going to have their own strategy for this involving Nathan and Miro. And most likely, I expect to see slight adaptations to what Orlando is doing. Especially their cash room last round. I did not like their cash room at all, I will be completely honest. And I want to see how Chicago go ahead and take that side of the map.
And the one thing for me that's kind of weighing against Orlando here, like you said, those attacks can happen. You know, attacking teams on this map can certainly put together 4-2 halves. But just objectively, the gunfighting for Chicago Playmakers has been better. I mean, Orlando's had their moments, and I think in particular, Stopler Mike has been doing a really nice job stepping up when they need to really win those fights. But if you look across at this team, Sprays and Yupuch are just fragging out so heavily. And now on defense, they're going to be really hard to shut down. Kind of interestingly, though, they're not going to go onto the fragging ops. Jaeger and Azami are going to be taken by X9 and Scatter. Wonder if maybe some of those better guns would have been suited to the 2 that are really popping off right now.
Some people call it the flow state, that time where you can do no wrong. Everything kind of comes naturally, and no matter what you do, you have an idea of what you're doing, and you don't need to think too hard about it. You just do it, and it works. You know, you're operating at full capacity. It comes effortlessly, flawlessly. If Sprays is in that state, which he's 10-2, he might just be. If Sprays is in that state, it doesn't matter what operator you play. Meanwhile, you give Scatter and, Bit Off two really solid guns that can increase their fragging potential, and if they start popping off, I mean, if you have 4 people popping off for your team at any one time,
Attackers have
that team
located
is
a
going
bomb.
to be dominant. X9, though, is going to be the first to drop. Orlando will get the opening pick, just as they suffered on their defenses. Chicago shall suffer the opening death as well.
Great find from Quizzy here on the Jackal that we haven't even mentioned so far. One of the first games I can remember where Jackal's in play, putting it to use as well. Still trying to gain entry into that cash room. Mute is doing a spectacular job holding it along with those castle barricades. Cooked frag grenade though from the gridlock should take down that main barricade, and indeed it will. Sprays push all the way back into the site. And now a little bit questionable. Chicago Playmakers, all 4 in the site right now. Ash underneath. But it's a very, very heavy workshop side push. If Orlando doesn't do this right, it can be shut down really easily. And look at that mirror there in logistics. Nobody's on the hatch above. They have no pressure on them right now. Nick Lovin still trying to find stuff underneath, and he's gonna. Pooch drops, taken down immediately by the Ash. Now Scatter, this play on this mirror is going to be so important for holding off this push.
And the ram above as well, they're going to be tasked with clearing out this zombie. If they can do just that, it's going to be a very quick hatch drop, or maybe with a flashbang. They just got to get something going. And if they clear this zombie, it's all going to be downhill from there. And indeed, they do. Die will get 1, and now it's a 5v2, making a 2v4 as Chicago bite back.
Bray's still alive, so is Bidov there with that Vector. Bidov going to find the first headshot. Stop little Mike trying to plant for the first time this game, but runs out of ammo. They saw the gridlock planting the diffuser. Mute gets a kill with the shotgun on the stairs, though. Trying to spray through the wall. Can they find one? They know she's in bathroom. Can't find it, though. Bidov going to be taken down by Stop little Mike. Stop little Mike gets another. What a close comeback there. Playmakers from 2-5 to 2-2. But the gridlock putting their foot down. Great round and a momentum swinging round there from the Orlando Invictus.
I was beginning to believe. I'm not gonna lie, Sprays was starting to get kills. It was a 2v4 and then a 2v3. They knew where the plant was going down. I was starting to get very, very worried. And unfortunately, Bit Off, they needed to reload their gun. So they swapped to their secondaries, swapping to your secondary fast and reloading, as we all know. And then they realized, oh wait, I got a secondary shotgun. I need to reload my primary. So they swap back to the primary, start the reload animation again. All the meanwhile, the plant's going down. You don't have time to swap to your secondary, swap back to your primary, to fiddle around with stuff that you can't be fiddling around with right now. And that plant could have been denied, and then it definitely would have been a Chicago round, because that's a 2v2, it's surrendered on the floor, and you have to push into Mira and Mute, and those are not operators you want to be taking heads-up gunfights with.
Really isn't. We're going to see if they're going to be able to avoid it this time around, though. Going back to the basement, and no team so far has opted to stay on bomb site that they've lost in, so maybe not a ton of confidence coming out from either of these teams. And if I were them, them speaking about Chicago here, stay away from Jim from now on. That site has been lost 4 times by the defense. We shouldn't see it again this game, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do if they're able to win this Armory Church bomb site, which if you look back at the Invictus defense, they won it both times, so pretty good chance here for the defenders.
I really want to see Bar and Stage.
Ooh,
It's unlikely. It's an okay site. It's a little hard to play. It's definitely a site that you have to come in with a very specific plan and execute that plan very well. But if you can do that, it can be a good site for you. And if Gem isn't working, and CCTV, maybe you don't like CCTV, or you go to CCTV and you use it, Bar might be that site, that wild card site that you can go to and really catch Orlando off guard. It's going to be a while before we see it, though, and we have a whole round ahead of us. Orlando setting up, taking a lot more time than Chicago did. There's not many players that are actually, starting to open up the ceiling, and that's because Chicago have a much more dedicated roam game. They have 2 players on the second floor, all the way away from site, and if Orlando ignore them, they can just do their thing and really get stuff done. So it's a really good thing to see Kunai opening up the hatch so early, because that's going to put pressure on site and force those roamers to rotate back soon.
And some great placement there, that hard breach charge by the Buck. Legion using both those impact nades, but not able to find much impact on either. Now Steptronic through the floorboards is going to pick up X9. Great opening kill here for the Invictus, but like you said, still 2 members out of sight here for Chicago. Kind of wonder if Orlando can identify that, and maybe, as dumb as it might sound, just full rush to sight. Certainly have the manpower. Now Moto Hatch going to fall open behind sprays. Dreadnought Mine activates. They know one's close. Looking upstairs, they still have Maverick, and Wamai might come into contact with them soon. Quizzy looking at a few different angles. The drone there looks like it's been captured by Mozzie. Maverick gets the drone, will not get the person though. You push with a big kill. Gridlock Closo able to deploy those track stingers momentarily. Force out Wamai onto another angle. And now Orlando knows they got to deal with them. Smoke grenade coming out. Are we going to find any shots through from either side? Not yet. Scatter picks up Steptronic. No more vertical control here for the Invictus. One drops Moto Hatch. It's going to be Ram. 2 boogies used, so utility already out. Trying to find something. The Mira is taken out from the other side. All 3 members now down in this hallway. Chicago can collapse. I don't know if they've recognized yet, though. All 3 still trying to box in here for Invictus, and with only 18 seconds, not much time. Yapush can get back to site, cause some damage. Now sitting in blue, gonna look to do that. Is gonna find the shots onto Gridlock. Instead, it'll be sprays to get the confirmed kill. One more gonna ring through, as now it's all on McLovin. Gets one, cannot get any more. Wamai, so much pressure that round and able to find the final kill. Chicago Playmakers with a convincing basement defense.
Convincing indeed. Orlando, they couldn't deal with the roam, and eventually, you know, they kind of said, all right, well, we don't really need to deal with the roam. We got the Mozzie, we lost our Maverick. It's okay. Let's just go ahead and hit site. Let's, you know, start throwing our smoke nades, maybe some flashbangs, start taking these fights, and they didn't clear people at a very critical angle, including blue. There was a player prone in blue, no pressure on them whatsoever. They could just hold an angle, call it a day, very tight angle at that. Orlando aren't going to be able to win that in a heads-up gunfight, and they push into it anyway because they have no other game plan. They don't have anyone trying to flank from blue. They don't have any way to take control from up top above that player, so they kind of just push into it, hope that they can make something work, and nothing connects. So Chicago gets their first defense on the board, and it will not be the last.
Have to wait and see what they're able to do here on CCTV Cash. And if you remember back to round number 4 there for Orlando, had a little bit of a rough time on this defense. Chicago just swarming through the site. Really just, I mean, kind of like a tornado, throwing stuff around, bullets flying, and was able to capitalize on that chaos. We'll see what the Invictus do, because as these rounds have gone by, they've certainly been a more patient team. I think that's kind of indebatable. They're using a lot of their time. They're really droning out thoroughly. Wonder if that might hurt them on this side, because this one's a really difficult one to execute on last second. You see a C4 from the Bandit there, so Scatter can buy a lot of time just playing underneath there with the threat of that insta-kill onto the planter.
This is one of those sites where you get down to the last 30 seconds and you really start to feel the pressure, because you're so exposed going for a plant, right? You can be C4'd from below, someone can come from an angle, so you want to get a lot done very early on. And the issue with that is you're going to have to clear garage rafters. You have a zombie playing up there because she was not banned, and that's going to mean very hard angles to deal with. A very strong player up there. I mean, you're putting, you know, sprays up there with a 9x, 13 and 3. I can only imagine how difficult that's going to be to clear. And a successful bandit trick will make it that much harder. Scatter. Stuff doesn't show up on the scoreboard. Even though you're 3 and 3, you're single-handedly making this that much harder on Orlando to win this round.
And he threw that on the wrong wall at first. I was really nervous, wasn't going to time that right, and that would have been a thermite charge kill. Pretty rare, but have seen it a few times. Would have been disastrous there for the Playmakers if that happened. But now Maverick already all the way over in bathroom. So Invictus just going to totally abandon that CCTV wall. I think it's a smart move for how much time they'd have to invest. Now you think Playmakers, after about another 20 seconds, are quiet. They're going to know the entire team here for the Invictus is on this west side of the map. We don't see any roam extension. Quizzy, though, going to take down X9, so maybe now an opportunity to get some pressure from the garage. Ash gonna have a difficult time dealing with that. Azami might meet the gaze of the knock first, so Steptronic playing right outside, gonna take a little bit damage out of Azami, gonna be hard to push out. Impact Nade gonna do a whole 20 damage. Quizzy yet again gets you pushed from underneath. Razor Bloom not gonna land onto the Ash. And this is a big round here from Quizzy. Finally shut down though. Guess who? It sprays with the 14th of this game. Steptronic now on 20 HP. Might have to find a different angle, and there's going to be the Thermite going down. Stoplo Mike gets taken down by a bit of Thorn and that Uzi doing a lot of damage. Still 40 seconds, but Invictus starting to pick up the pace a little bit. Drone going to come out here from Zai, seeing where they can go. Steptronic still trying to find some impact, now moving onto that window. Bit of takes some damage. Nick11 now moving in, exposes themselves to the doorway angle. Stun Grenade gonna bounce off a little bit awkwardly. Doesn't find the flash. No, it doesn't, gonna be taken down through the wall. Scatter is gonna take down Nick11 as well. Now all on Zai. 15 seconds, about 50 HP, and not much of a chance. Takes down Bit of though. Huge opening kill with both defenders, different angles. 5 seconds. Gonna have to push in. Will fall to the Azami. Sprays with a massive round out of garage. Chicago Playmakers, a little bit of a rough one, but they hold on.
Orlando, why? Why bring a Maverick if you're not going to use Maverick on the CCTV wall? That's
very astute.
Maverick was born for that job, okay? I don't think anyone understands. Maverick trick that wall so it's solid. Maverick can make holes in that wall so players on rappel can hold angles. Maverick can, well, he used to be able to throw grenades, but now he's poor and can't throw grenades. It's unfortunate. But he still has a great gun and utility almost designed for that job. And Orlando said, go to the other side of the map and do whatever you want. No, you gotta use your utility where it's best suited. And the fact that Maverick is on the wrong side of the map lost Orlando that round. The CCTV wall being opened up makes that a zombie easier to clear. It makes the players in sight have a lot more pressure, different angles. And Orlando had the right recipe, but they just couldn't cook.
They couldn't. Luckily for them, though, we're going to be going back to Bedroom Gym. And historically, if you look at all 4 rounds that's been played, defenders haven't won it once. With that being said, though, I thought the Playmakers' defense of it in round number 7 was a little bit better than we saw from Orlando. But even so, Orlando had a giant crack at that objective once they were able to take down that player on the Mira. Did some really nice work from that logistics hatch. And Playmakers, I mean, really kind of untrue to form fashion. Lost 2 members insanely early on. Almost lose the head of the castle. Scatter playing with fire there, trying to run down that hallway. Oh, they do have a Twitch show. And Mira might not be ready for this to just jump through the bathroom. I think she's on cams.
Yeah, Twitch drone really putting in work. I've seen Twitch shoot way too many mirrors.
Yep, there it goes.
Today. Did he get it?
I think so. I believe so. I saw the Twitch in the bathroom. Did they not get it? It's really hard to see from this angle.
Looks like Nick's still trying to drone it, and nope, gets caught on a little piece of debris, and that will spell the end of that Twitch drone. So, different game plan. You're gonna have to throw some base charges on it, maybe with Thatcher and clear it that way, or you may just push the other side of the map and try to get kills. Sprays a lot of damage, but still alive. We know how impactful that gun can be when it's hot. X9 will get the first kill on the kunai, and that's what the site has been missing. Opening kills for the defense, and your pooch will tag on with another with the assist from the Frost Smack. Or on the back foot, and this is the do or die round for this map. They're gonna have to do the 3v5 comeback if they want to keep themselves in this map.
Throughout all 3 rounds, they've been doing such a good job droning here, the Invictus, but when it matters most, they miss out. And cheeky Twitcher on the second will be used on that cash wall. Bandit now knows they're going to have to fall back. That's going to be opened up, but yet again, Bandit on the other side of the map. For Invictus, they have no pressure from the opposite side, no crossfire. They might pay for it. Sprays is able to take down Nick11, traded out. Stop Little Mike prioritizing a kill there. Don't think they knew that the Frost was was that close, rather, on that wall. Could have been a really big 2-person swing, and with Diffuser outside, whether or not Playmakers know it, 4v1, and the Ash has to drop, you gotta think we can just start looking forward to map 2 at this point.
Was he? Needs to 1v4.
Attackers
It's
recovered
going to
the
be a
diffuser.
difficult take. Raze is down, but there's a mirror up. There's 4 guns staring right at you, and there's no chance. X9 to close it out. Clubhouse, a solid performance from Chicago. They're going to need to keep it up. I like what I saw. They adapted even when they were winning, and they didn't let Orlando get ahead of them. So heading into the next map, what does Orlando need to do to get ahead of Chicago here? What do they do to turn the tables?
And I'll pass it back to you to answer that in just a second, obviously, as I believe we probably will throw it a short break before map 2. But I mean, at least for me, the one huge thing that I noticed throughout that entire game, opening kills, because it wasn't just one. Every single time we saw an opening, it turned into 2 or 3 kills. You know, it's not always the end of the world if you lose that opening pick, but from both sides, they did such a good job at turning that first kill into the first 2 kills, into the first 3, and really just, I think, not really snowballing, but making an advantage out of a really small one. So the team that's able to keep doing that moving forward is going to have a really good shot. And I think we're going to Border next. So give me your take on it before we send it to break.
Border is going to play a lot like Clubhouse, I would guess. Lots of external breaches, pushing from different sides. So if Chicago could play a very solid Clubhouse, they could play a very solid Border. And Orlando, even though, you know, it's their map pick, they're still in trouble if they let Chicago run around the map and get as kill crazy as they were getting. Because Chicago was playing fast, playing hard, and Orlando wasn't able to keep up. We're going to find out how it all plays out, though, for this short break, so don't go anywhere.
But I can't let you go. And maybe you found someone. I'm better off alone. Something better came along. But I can't let you go. But I can't let you go. And maybe you found someone. I'm better off alone. Something better came along. Maybe I was wrong for the first time. And maybe this was all just in my mind. We'll rise and fall and start again. God knows when we'll reach the end. And every single thing might fall apart. But I can't let you go. And maybe you found someone. I'm better off alone. Something better came along. But I can't let you go. But I can't let you go. And maybe you found someone. I'm better off alone. Something better came along. But I can't let you go.
I didn't plan it, you know that. I didn't mean to hurt you, darling. I wasn't ready, we both weren't. But look at you, you're everything I want. Just give me another chance to show you. Please hear me. I'm just trying to tell you, come with me. And we'll be everything we want to. Just give me another chance. I know I should've known better. I know I should've never taken off. I know I should've known better. Cause when you're not around, everything feels wrong. When no one's ever treated me better, I guess I wasn't used to feeling good. I know I
Welcome back here to Hyper Series. Hopefully we weren't too long. Hopefully you didn't miss us too much. But we're back for map number 2 here between Chicago Playmakers and Orlando Invictus. If you're just now tuning in, Chicago took map number 1 7-3 on Clubhouse. Now moving on to Border. Sorry, band's not shown this time, but trust us, it's Border. Stake my reputation on it. I'm Kingfisher. With me once again, Terry. Terry, we talked about it a little bit at the end of map 1, but specifically here from Invictus. What big changes need to happen? Just kind of walk us through a little recap of what we're expecting to see from them here in game number 2.
Step 1, you need to not give so many opening picks. You ended up at the very end talking about how crucial those opening picks were. And Border is a map where you can get into a lot of opening engagements very quickly if you want to. You can play in CCTV area if you're playing upstairs, and the attackers will almost certainly come to you. Or as an attacker, you can get right in there and start fighting the team. There's a lot of ways to walk to the building. And in some ways, that's kind of like Clubhouse, where there's a lot of windows. But a little bit different from Clubhouse is that there's no basement where you can really turtle up in. And that's something that both Chicago and Orlando really leveraged because they couldn't win their upstairs defenses as much. So Border is going to be a lot more aggressive, a lot faster. Teams are going to get in their faces a lot quicker. And that's going to play into Chicago's play style, where as soon as you open wall, you can just get into the site and start taking kills. You don't really necessarily have to have pressure from the other end, but it's good to have. Chicago are going to start on the attack, which is going to be to their advantage, and Orlando are going to have to put obstacles in Chicago's way in order to stop them from just running away.
And I like the way that Orlando's kind of approached both these pick ban phases, because this is his second time now. Obviously, he took out Habana when they were defending on Clubhouse, and now taking out Ace, another Heartbreaker. I think they're doing the smart thing in kind of playing against Chicago's strength. Like you've talked about, they're going to be favored here on attack, so taking any little method they can to slow them down. And on the flip side here from Chicago, I think the Ram ban is great. They didn't use it last round on Clubhouse. Orlando, though, used it 2 or 3 times.
Ram's a very strong operator on the first floor, and there are 3 first floor sites on board. The Ram has a good effect on all of them. We most likely will only be seeing 2 of those first floor sites. CCTV, or not CCTV rather, but Armory Lockers is a very popular site. You see it in almost every rotation for every team that plays Border. Solus, not something we're going to be seeing in rotation this time, as it's once again banned. An operator that gets rid of drones, one of the most critical utility in the game, and it can be proactive while doing so. Is an operator you don't want to be squared up against, just like Fenrir, who can make taking gunfights that much more difficult. Orlando banning the Fenrir and Chicago banning the Solus is not quite what I expected. I would have expected the rules reversed there, but both very strong operators that you want to take off the board, so seeing them gone, even if it's by the teams we weren't expecting, makes a lot of sense.
Super surprised to see the Invictus go and ban Fenrir there. That was almost wholly the reason they got one of the rounds on defense there back on Clubhouse. Certainly helped on a number of other sides. And then for Solis, like you said, taking out drones. Chicago doesn't drone a whole ton. They're pretty run and gun once that round starts. We didn't see a whole ton of vertical play from them. Even on the basement, it was mostly a horizontal push. So, questionable bans. I don't think they're bad bans. Both of those operators very good. And you really can't go wrong with banning them out. But yeah, kind of like you said, not what I expected to see. But I'm sure what both of us were ready to see. Orlando going back to this Mira. They really, really valued that pick on Clubhouse.
Have located a bomb.
And Mira is just as, if not more so, strong on Border, because you can open up angles for Mira to play, and those angles can look directly outside. In fact, I believe that's what Nick Levin is doing right now. If this second wall doesn't get reinforced, and which it will, so I'm wrong as per. You can actually open up Armory Locker's wall, put a Mira there, and really just go ham, and the attackers were presented with a problem before they even touched the out. That's something that Orlando are going to need to look into. They're going to need to present problems, and Chicago are going to have to find solutions. Orlando, instead of going to opt to put a slightly more passive Mira inside of the closet. It's going to prevent anyone from walking into Armory even once the walls get open. Now the bad Mira, just, a very safe Mira, I would say. It's a more passive Mira, which is something that's completely fine to see. And that's going to be playing for Orlando's play style of playing a little bit more back, not roaming as hard, and really just playing your trades and trying to make sure that if Chicago gets the opening pick, they don't run away with it and get that second and third pick as we saw last time.
Have to see what they do, and yet again, it's an early entry. This time, Quizzy, though, gets the opening kill. Going to be traded right back out, though. Good trade now. Scatter able to pick it up. Already hear a thermite going off. Once again, Chicago just absolutely rapid-paced here. Trying to fly into this objective. Knock on the window will provide some cover, and Yupush able to take out one from that window. Gets a ping, but the player on crouch here not going to be in any danger. Still, no frag grenades in pocket, though, for the Nook, so all they have on this window right now is only their gun skill. Granted, we've talked about it a lot. Chicago has that in spades. Another crucial wall going to be open as that's the back of sight, I believe, and A there. Jaeger getting forced out and died to the Nook. What a great crossfire here by the Playmakers. Nook, though, can't land the shots onto Warden. Good job from Steptronic landing some damage. And ends up down in the Nook. Now, Stuplo Mike still has a C4, can do a lot of work. Oh, but a member going to land some damage onto the mirror there. That spray is spraying through that wall. And the defense is in a rough place here. Stuplo Mike loses even more health. And the Warden's going to die. Scatter gets his kill. Scatter picks up the knock. And it should be Stuplo Mike falling. There it is. Knock gets it yet again. What an opening there from Chicago.
Pooch this time to be the one to get a 3K. Did not say their name a lot last. They definitely were there. They were definitely making impact, but not the operator that I expect, or not the player rather, that I expected to really just, you know, start popping off and getting in there. I believe they were the second highest frag on the team last map. But with 3 kills, they are already putting themselves in position where, you know, if they get hot, they start, you know, running over Orlando. Orlando are going to have to, you know, win their gunfight against Pooch. They're going to have to either win their gunfight or get them with utility or get them with kind of a freebie kill. Sometimes those nades, C4s, stuff like that, that you can't just have a gun skill and, you know, have a gunfight, use your gun skill to get out of. Those situations are stuff that is a way of slowing down these players, and that's why I've been stressing the utility game from Orlando. Miro's a good pick for that, but I would really like to see a Legion to slow these down. They were starting to bring it last map, they haven't brought it yet.
See what they're going to be able to do now is it's going to be a similar take. They do have a castle yet again. I believe they did have a castle last turn, right? I'm not just going crazy. Yeah, they did. No, it was.
But I think they had a castle.
It was on Quizzy. Okay, I'm trying to remember. Sorry, absolutely.
I remember it and I remember it being castle. I just never saw a castle barricade.
I didn't either. I didn't know if that was really due to what Chicago was doing or just delayed setup, because I also don't believe they had an Ash last time. I don't think Sprays was on that Ash. Having a little bit of trouble remembering those, so could be wrong. I'll make sure to take better notes. And now Stuplo Mike. We didn't see the mirrors have a huge impact in the last round, but hopefully for the Invictus, if they're able to not lose those opening picks, if they can keep that thermite at bay a little bit longer here with this Kaid, should have a much, much better impact this time around.
Especially because there's no Thatcher or even impact EMPs on the board. Something that Knock can bring and Dokebi can bring, but neither operator bringing it to the table this time around. Instead, going for flashbangs and grenades. Utility that is good for taking swings, but not for taking walls usually. So I wonder how they're going to deal with this Cade, or if they're just going to, instead of going for these walls that are caded, opening up less crucial walls, and instead trying to use those to get angles into the site. Cade looking for that gunfight. That's going to be Nick Lovin. Nick Lovin with TCSG, dropping any attacker in 1 to 2 to 3 shots. Going to be a rough one for Chicago if they're not ready, but no, it's Nick who's not ready this time around.
Opening kills from both sides, seeing some trades come out here, but Yupuch falling early. That was 3 kills there in the first round. Orlando doing a good job getting some early impact here. Now Bit of Insight does have the diffuser. Are we going to see a play on Zai, though? Going to take down Sprays. He did not know where the Jaeger was. Stuplo Mike trying to land some damage through the wall. Now diffuser going down. Does Orlando know it? It's been a quiet plant so far. Bit of drops off the plant, though. Going to be killed by Stuplo Mike. Scatter is going to get one before they get traded out by Steptronic. Now it's only X9. We talked about map 1, them needing to be careful on some of these attacks. They were in sight, but just all fell apart.
It looked like the Thermite knew there was someone behind the bomb chassis. They tried to peek it, but then got scared. The cross angle backed off. But the Ash didn't seem to get them. X9 now puts themselves in a winnable position. It's a 1v2, but both of these defenders are split up. It's going to be hard for them to hold an angle together. A flashbang to try to clear out this player. It drops to the floor, but the refrag is there. Stop little Mike. It wasn't a hard fight to win. They just needed to land their shots as their teammate gets dropped in return.
Heading into round number 3 now. Orlando picking up one there, hoping to do it again, and going on to Teller's bathroom. And I want to hear your take on this because it's always pretty split between kind of the bathroom site and then the workshop. What's your take on those? Is there one you prefer, or are they kind of even in your mind?
I like every single site on the first floor. I'm not going to lie to you. In fact, if I had my way, there would be games where I do not play the second. Second floor is a very strong site. I think it's the strongest site in this map. But
That's just
the
square
bottom floors are super interesting to play. The second floor has a lot of, strategy that goes into it. You can open up a lot of angles, extend the CCTV.
Attackers need to
But I think
locate
this
and defuse
bottom
bombs.
floor has a lot of depth as well that not a lot of teams explore. So I like it all. Which one I prefer? I would probably say I prefer that if I had to choose. But sometimes I don't have to choose. I mean, once they either win or lose this round, they're gonna go to the other one. If they lose that one, they're gonna go back upstairs to Armory, and they're gonna try to go for that cycle, most likely, if I had to guess. I don't expect to see any security play. Security is probably the weakest site on this map.
Seconds left.
So even though I enjoy it, I think most teams are in agreement
5
where
seconds
it's, top floor, then the bathroom, then to workshop, and
Attackers
then you try to
objective is
repeat
to
the
locate a
cycle.
bomb and defuse it.
See what they end up prioritizing after this site here. Assuming, of course, they can get this round win. Something we didn't see from the Invictus a whole ton back on Clubhouse. They're going to go for a very extended hold here. Push up mightily into the second floor, and that's how you play the site. They could see a member this early. Is Frost going to get the Frost mat down? There is somebody a foot to her right, and I don't think she realizes.
Double mat.
Or there was.
That's a new one.
Yeah, that actually... we've talked about Playmakers play really fast. Sometimes they don't drone completely. That could be really costly for them. Talk about playing fast. They are already challenging. 40 seconds in here. It's going to be a bit of the member to try to push out that member inside a fountain for the Invictus. They've taken over Armory Control 2, so it should be a short-lived roam from the Invictus if the Playmakers play it right. Steptronic does have a deployable shield and an Electroclaw on those 2 walls. Without something like an Ash this time, there's no way to push him off outside maybe an air jab. X9 gonna take down Quizzy though before Zai trades him back out. That's a kill for the Frost. And still alive is this Wamai. Under a lot of trouble though. Invictus aren't gonna be able to help him out either. You push falls. Still one member upstairs here. It's gonna be Zai on that Frost. Zai falls. Half the round remaining. Entire site control. Entire vertical control. Now Invictus gonna be on the back foot. And one of the 2 Frost mats gets triggered.
They're gonna go and pick him up. Most likely, they're not gonna let him pick himself up because of all the debuffs that come with it. Meanwhile, Sprays is gonna stop Lil Mike, which means it's just a 1v4. Nick 11 can't get the players to go to support their other teammate. Sprays though drops in the site and is unknown. Managed to get the kill from behind, and actually the Jackal went down. That gunfight could have gone either way if the Cade could have got out of the way or knew IQ was there. They could have maybe started to make a play. But no, it's Chicago. They got it in the name. Like I said earlier, they're the ones making the plays. They're the ones setting the tempo. And Orlando cannot get their feet under.
Another strong round by Chicago. And you know something I'm really surprised we haven't seen? Spawn peaks. Chicago is just sprinting to the building every time, but I don't think we've seen anybody on Orlando go for an early kill. Granted, with the sheer gun skill we're seeing here out of Chicago, it'd be super hard to do. But maybe after, what is it now, 10 in the last game, 3 in this, 13 rounds and not playing aggressive, maybe now's the time to switch things up.
Attackers need to
Spawn
locate
peaks
and defuse
are
as many bombs
very
as
hit or
they can.
miss. You're framing your head in a window for the attack to shoot, but if they're not paying attention, they instantly get dropped.
Attackers
So,
have located
high
the
risk,
bomb.
high reward. Is that what you need at this point? Yeah, actually, I kind of agree with that sentiment, where you need to get these opening kills. We are losing a lot of these opening engagements. It's not really, panning out in the mid round. You're losing the utility game, well, maybe try to get a free kill. Chicago aren't gonna fall for it twice, though. I think once Orlando gets that first, spawn kill, assuming they do, Chicago are instantly gonna be ready. They're gonna be every window. They're gonna be ready for it. So maybe Orlando don't want to start that arms race. If Orlando starts spawn peeking, Chicago are gonna start spawn peeking and doing other crazy things. And if you start that arms race, you win it. You're not winning this race, so maybe you need to change the game.
Gonna see how quickly they can race into the objective here, and it's the exact same setup here from the Invictus. One thing we commended the Playmakers on with their attack of Clubhouse was even though they still played at that same fast pace, they did a little bit of adaptation every time they went to that bomb site. Gonna do the same thing here, have the Finka to deal with any potential
know.
frost mats. But it's the exact same setup, exact same operator, same placements, everything. Pooch gonna take down Zai early. Shot's gonna miss. Oh, the UMP gets it. Castle gets one. Can they get the second? It's a little bit damaged. Is Bidov gonna get the kill? Bidov can't find the shot. What a pick by Quizzy, and a C4 from Stop Little Mike rings out. They were ready this time. No spawn peaks needed, just good old-fashioned gun skill. Now a 2v4 for the Playmakers.
Quizzy was lurking there for so long, narrowly missed their opportunity. But even once they knew, they couldn't land the kill. Sprays will finally pick the castle off in their reign of terror and make it a 2v3. You do have 2 nades on Spray. You do have your air jabs and flashbangs on Scatter, so you have the tools in order to make this work. There's frost mats on the board, there's mirrors on the board, and there's a warden on the board. So, these flashbangs may not get the players you need them to get. These grenades aren't going to pick up the kills you need to get, as they all fall back to site to play these crawls together.
Sprays out with a great kill on to Stop Low Mike, and now it's just Nick Lovin and Steptronic. Nick Lovin had a little bit of trouble with the TCSG last round, missing one on the hatch, so maybe trying to play off that. Not going to happen this time, though. Spray's going to fall. There's a kill with the shotgun. I mean, Caster's Curse really doesn't get any more real than that. Great pickup by Nick Lovin, and still C4 in pocket. They can really wait out this Nomad. Don't know if they have the information on cams about where Nomad is, or even that it's still Nomad alive.
I would guess they would know. Even if they haven't droned it quite yet, they're going to hear the gun go off. Scatter's already shot bullets, and that was the last bullet. Steptronic, from an off angle, there was intel indeed on the Nomad, and they instantly capitalize on it to clean up the round. Orlando winning the secondary site, and now they're going to run it back on their primary site and hope to pick up the round and put themselves in the lead for the first time this game.
I just gotta say, if they do lose this site and they go back to Armory, that would be pretty crazy. A defense where we're only seeing 2 sites. And if I had to guess, and I will just because I think it'd be entertaining, I'd expect Playmakers to do the same thing when they're on defense. Hopefully the Invictus able to take a win here so we can get a little bit of variety, variability, whichever V starting word you want to use for it. But we're going to have to see what they do here. And an Osa being hovered from the Playmakers. That's a pretty big switch up. I don't think we've seen Osa once throughout the now 14 rounds of play here. So assuming it doesn't get 6 picked, which it might, Sprays has been one of their main initiators. Might go on to something like that Ash that we've seen them run a lot. So still tough to tell, but I would love to see an Osa here.
Osa's a very strong and unique operator. They bring the utility of other shield operators like Blitz and Monty, but it's a little bit more limited. In return, you get more team play because your shields can be used by other players and you can leave them for other players to play off of.
5 seconds remaining.
And you also get a full primary gun, something the other shield operators don't exactly get. So Sprays bring the PDW this time around. Very strong gun. I myself prefer Thermite's, I believe it's 5.56, right? So,
Yeah.
Different strokes for different folks. Sprays obviously knows what he's doing. He went off last map. He's doing very strong this map. So I don't doubt that they're going to be impactful with the PDW, even if they're playing a 3 armor operator.
See just how Chicago opt to play this one. Taking a Grim as well. I think they did have one back on Clubhouse, if we're remembering correctly, so maybe getting a little bit of continuity as far as weird ops go. See a nice replay there. That shot Sprays had. So nice taking down that Mira. Unfortunately for the Playmakers, not able to follow it up. Without something like that Ash this time, they have frag grenades, but they're just going to punch these barricades down, and there is a member playing inside of security. Close by, they have a yellow ping out on them. Can't quite see the reflection, but a nade will confirm it. That was a castle. Steptronic goes down, and the nade being prep. Member on top of the hatch will get it. No, but so much health. Lil Mike down to 20. What a great nade. Gets a Mira. Oh, steps away just in the nick of time, though. Mira won't find it, and now Upooch has one onto Zai. Here's a Playmakers we were expecting to see last round. Making some big entry. Thermite going to start to open the wall. It's a triple from Upooch. Can we see the elusive ace? Might be time for it. Nick and Quizzy. 2 players left remaining. There's a fourth. It's a Quadra. Can we see the ace? No! It's going to be Cade that takes him down. Flawless round all the same. So close. Oh, that would have been the perfect punctuation mark on these playoffs.
Orlando had an awful case of siege time. The first kill onto the castle, grenade from below. There's not much you can do about that except not stand still. Kind of unfortunate. It happens. You know, castle dies. End of story. The mirror takes a lot of damage and then peeks through the ceiling, not being able to find Upooch. Upooch walked away for a second in order to check another angle or, you know, get a different angle to try to shoot the mirror off. And the mirror operator peeks down, doesn't find the character, and, you know, can't get that refrag. Then later, Jaeger, coming down metal stairs, watching for Nock to rotate, decides to hop over the staircase exactly when the Nock swings, and there's nothing they can do about it. They can't turn around, and they get shot in the back as they make it over. And so you lost 2 players, a majority of Mira's health, and it was all to one player who got a little bit lucky, but also a lot of skill. Those depth charges soon to not be in the game, but they are a very hard thing to do if you don't know exactly what you're doing. When you don't know how to cook your nades properly, it's difficult to actually get those off. But Sprays made, or sorry, not Sprays, but your Peach made it.
Now I just gotta say, before this goes any further, that I was right. We're gonna see only 2 bomb sites. Yay! Sure, all you viewers at home also loving the variation there. Yeah, well, welcome to Border. No truer statement. Now Quizzy playing in the bottom floors, and now we're going to see a little bit of switch up here from the Invictus. The only problem is, I don't think the Playmakers have even looked in the bottom floor the past 2 rounds outside. Maybe that nade there from the Nock. Indeed, the Nomad just going to scale up the wall there, so Quizzy might be able to find something if we see Yapooch play a little careless here, but Yapooch goes to the roof, so just a little bit of waste of time there on the Warden's part. I like the thought, though, trying to find something early, unfortunately, just not at the right opportunity.
Orlando have surrendered CCTV entirely. They're holding on to break room of all things, but they've completely forfeited CCTV. They don't want it. They don't want any part of it. You can have it. It's free 99. Go ahead and walk in and do what you want. Kunai, or Steptronic, rather, is playing inside of break room with every door castled off except for his exit, a couple of reinforcements, and some angles open up to take these aggressive fights. It'll be Nick Lovin, though, to find the first fight on the X9 and give them an opening hit. Exactly what Orlando need. They just need to find a way to keep the ball rolling, and stop Lil Mike does exactly that.
Semi-auto guns ringing out big here. Sprays finally able to take down Nick Love, and that cade's been a little problem in the last few rounds. Really gotten going. What a shot, what an angle from Scatter there onto Steptronic. Stepla Mike trying to play on that main wall. Nobody outside on the window. Don't believe the Aruni knows that. A real way to. Swinging wide now, takes a lot of damage. Lands 1 DMR shot, can't find the other though. Spray is going to get credit for that kill. Now the diffuser's still on Scatter, so they don't have it inside that main wall. Scatter finally going to rotate over. Are they going to be able to get it down? Planting right inside the wall. Cutout here might allow Jaeger to look through. Warden swinging now. Diffuser going to stick. Diffuser going to go down. Now 3-on-2 post plant. The Osa peeks over the shield, though. They down Quizzy. Do they know it? I don't think they do. Scatter repositions. Great play by the Nomad. Even better by the Thermite. What a flick. Bit of to close that one out. Wow, that Thermite, a gutsy play, leads to big results. Oh my gosh, put that one to music. That's one of the best flicks I've ever seen.
It was a headshot too, so it didn't matter
Yeah.
what HP the player was at. I think it was actually the hip fire. They un-ADS as they, changed targets. Completely valid thing to do. That's how you aim. That's perfectly fine. But the hip fire as you did the spray transfer hit the head, which you could say that's luck. I think it wouldn't have mattered at the end of the day, but it was just really good mechanics to hold fire even while you're changing targets. Even when you know you're not on target, you still hold fire, so you have that consistent recoil pattern moving across. So good mechanics there. Gets the player trying to attempt the refrag. I still think
Attackers
that
need to
round
locate
goes
and
the way of
defuse as many
Chicago.
bombs
They
as
had,
can.
the attacking utility outside. The bomb was already planted for a while at that point. So that's just a great way to close it out. Send yourself to your defenses. You're up 4-2. And once again, you find yourself in this map advantage, transferring over to defense.
Attackers
And
have
all you
discovered
gotta do is be good at one site and sneak a win on another. And all of a sudden, you're on through the bracket. Orlando are running low on time to, make Chicago work for them. This is map 2, and they're already ready to get sent to the lower bracket because they just cannot find the secret sauce in order to put Chicago in that spot.
Yeah, that's something we haven't touched on a whole ton here. Obviously, I think we mentioned it at the very start when we kind of introduced a matchup, but this is still an upper bracket game. Even, well, one team's going to lose here, still yet to see which one that is, but whoever loses, not the end of the road, still going to have another opportunity to claw their way back into this tournament. And honestly, we've seen really impressive moments from both teams. And one thing I want to mention, the votes going into this were 17-3 for the Playmakers. Even seeing the Invictus put up this much of a fight is impressive. They're not out of it yet. It's just like it was on Clubhouse, same scoreline for the offense-defense split. We'll see if they're able to do anything, though. They have a Lion and they have a Nomad, so the Roamers here for the Playmakers going to be in a lot of trouble.
39 plus on their round differential in the main season. Those are crazy numbers. No matter how weak your division is by some standards, that's still crazy numbers. But you get the opening pick, and Nick Loving instantly gets 2 frags to respond. This is what you need. You need that, X factor. You need players who are going to go in there and get what needs to be done and done. And sprays and get pooch. Your 2 top tags off the board instantly. This is Orlando's time. Take their first attacking round and get down to business.
Now Stoplow might going to contribute there. Bit of gets taken down. The mirror down early, so that's going to be a Nitro Cell down as well. 2v4 here for the Playmakers. They have a UMP, which not really known for its gun skill, so Scatter they're going to have to frag out. Won't do that. Nick Lovin with a 3rd. Can Nick find the 4th? Loving what we're seeing here. X9, though, just crouches underneath the view of the butt. Didn't see it. But diffuser going down. Still another Lion scan. 3 EMPs just if you need them. And now a hailstorm bullets running into you. What a flick, though. X9 is able to take down Nick Lovin. Since to see the member through the wall. He's going to down them. Supplemite goes down. Is it possible here, the 1v2? Oh, gets so much damage onto Zai. Would have been massive. He's able to Nitro Cell the diffuser. Oh, starts to plant the diffuser Claymore, rather. Does Zai have the angle? 3 seconds. Gets off. Zai's rushing now. 1 bullet will do it. They down the Lion. Do they know? Oh, do they get back to the diffuser? They do! The 1v4 post-plant quarter kill. X9 in Chicago win round 5.
Defenders win.
We have not talked enough about X9. Lurking in the shadows, waiting for their opportunity to strike. And that was it. Right there. Orlando, their first attack, it's looking so well. They start off with a triple, and then, out of nowhere, X9 says, "What you doing over there, bud? You having fun?" And then he comes and ruins their fun. He just comes in, every shot, every kill, just on point. Nothing Chicago can do. They just could not single him out and take a 2v1 gunfight. Every single time, X9 singled out the 1v1, got the kill, repositioned, reloaded, and waited and breathed. 45 seconds, and they used every single second to their advantage to get every kill and defuse the bomb. Excellent clutch. That is textbook clutch. And that is going to, I'm not going to say the nail in the coffin for Orlando, but that's certainly the start of, closing the casket here.
The lid's about to swing shut. Going into that, I didn't even know if that was a possibility to 1v4 that. With all the angles open, with so much time, so much utility too from Invictus, and they just didn't really have the chance to use it. Didn't have that lion skin, would have been really useful late in the round. We saw, I think, 2 players die without truly knowing where they were. We didn't see the shots ring out onto X9 there. Now playing on the Jaeger, so gonna have a good gun to follow up that performance with. And interestingly, that round was played on Tellers. You normally see Armory first, but I think we're just now gonna see it here from the Playmakers. Indeed we are, so interested to see what they can do on this site. They have a Mira again, but Mira didn't really do a whole ton in round number 1 there.
Chicago can't rely on hero plays. They haven't been, for the most part. We've had your players popping off, but it's been a group effort. Scatter and get off, even if they're not popping off on the scoreboard. They have been bringing crucial retail. I even mentioned it in map 1 on Clubhouse when Scatter got that bandit trick. That's the type of stuff that doesn't show up on the scoreboard, but it's winning Chicago rounds. Castle's another one of those characters. You won't immediately see the impact of what Castle brings, but the ability to deny these angles and deny these rotations from Orlando is going to be crucial in Chicago's strategy. Scatter won't have the best of gun, but he is putting his team in a position to win this. So, every player of Chicago playing their role perfectly. In Orlando, they haven't been able to get in there and do what they need to do. Nick Lovin, the person that started them off last round, loses instantly, and that's your thermite.
Oh, a great shot onto Scatter, though. Doesn't matter how good the UMP is. If you're not around to use it, Steptronic taken down by Yapooch, but now Stop Low Mike able to refrag that. That kill on the Thermite is huge. No secondary Heartbreed charges here. So if you're the Playmakers, I doubt they're going to do it. You can literally go sit inside and watch them walk through 2 different doorways to see what they opted to do with it. They are all pretty close. I think the Jaeger only one out of it, and X9 able to take down Stop Low Mike. Now only Zai and Quizzy. Luckily for them, Thinkaboost for Taros. Now a double kill. Quizzy gets one more, but now in a 1v2 facing off against 2 Nitro Cells as well. It's a tough situation. Scope pistol. Will not hit any shots. Just fires a few into the wall. With sprays backing up as well here. Quizzy, a minute left, so has time. But you gotta wonder what's the plan of attack here. Have to push out that Warden first, looking for the angle. With that Mira, they see the head. Can't hit the flicks just yet. Nitro Cell, not even gonna be close. Quizzy losing a little bit of health though. And Decade finds one more shot. 20 HP here for the Flores. Chrono doesn't see shots ring out. Now they see it and hits. Thought it was a leg, it was the head. Bidov gets a kill. Once again, match point for the Playmakers.
There aren't a lot of words to say what I want to say. I don't even quite know what I want to say. Orlando has met their match. I guess that's the long and short of it. Chicago have been playing really well. They've been firing on all cylinders. Map 1, Map 2. They find themselves 6-2. They haven't shown a weakness on any of their defenses. Now, this is their tertiary site. Ventilation Workshop is the weakest site that they're going to be playing, for the, this match. So, this is Orlando's chance. 4 rounds is very overcomable. We've seen 0-6 comebacks. Are Orlando that team? Are they going to be able to run it back 4 rounds in a row, take us to overtime, and do what needs to be done? Remains to be seen. They definitely have the players to do it, though. Nick Loving and Stop Lil Mike have all had their opportunities. They've all shown what they can do. Quizzy as well, Zai as well. Steptronic playing a lot of that support. So Orlando, they have the recipe. Just like map 1, I said they had the recipe, but they aren't cooking. And now is the time to fire up the grill, fire up the stove, put it all together, and do what you have to do to take this into the team. Or you're going to have a long run of losing them.
5 seconds to insertion.
Trying to avoid that loser bracket at all costs here. They're pulling out all the stops. They got a Blitz, they got a Monty, they got a Ying. If you wanted exciting siege, you are in the right place. I mean, Shield Enthusiast in me is loving it. if you're Chicago Playmakers, you're probably hating it. This is going to be a really annoying round, and Blitz almost gets headshot with the shield facing the wrong way. That would have been disastrous for the Invictus. Lions can't get a ring out. X9 has been so crucial to these defensive rounds here for the Playmakers. Going to fall early on. Septronic getting the kill. That's big. You keep your Ying, you keep your Candelas. Now Blitz still moving in, really exposing themselves to an angle behind here. Gotta wonder if maybe too many liberties being taken there. Steptronic is going to leave on about 1 health. Close to it, and there goes some damage on the Blitz. Not much, luckily. Monty pushing in now. There goes the big shield, backing themselves right up into the corner. Nick Lovin gonna fall. That's a gridlock down early. Doesn't matter though. Monty's planting. I don't think they know. C4 through the wall. Can it get them? No, it cannot. Bit of is gonna take down Quizzy, so there goes the Blitz. Now Monty gonna post up in the corner. You got Candelas, you got guns. More importantly, Chicago Playmakers have 30 seconds to get on that diffuser. Another C4 here from the Cade, not gonna land anything. And now they're not gonna have anything to deal with that Monty. Backed up into a corner. Headshot gonna ring out there. Great kill from Zai. Bit of though, nice stop little Mike. What was the Monty doing? Monty falls. 2 alive now. They might be able to get this diffuser. 16 seconds. Steptronic outside the window. Zai outside the front door. But Zai picks up sprays. That can be huge. Steptronic gets bit of. Almost fell apart there for the Invictus, but doing a great job. They win the round. Bops him with the Candela before shooting.
I don't quite remember who died to the C4, but I think they saved the round. Was it Blitz? They walked up to the wall, right? And the C4 got thrown out. I think it hit their face or their shield or something, and it bounced back and it only killed them. It didn't kill the Monty. And if that's the case, if Orlando just won a round because they basketball blocked the nitro cell, that's wild. I'm just gonna say that's wild. I'm taking that one back in the match replay and watching exactly what happened because I didn't see where the C4 went. I saw it hit their face and I'm like, oh, that's 2 players dead. The C4 is gonna land right at the feet of Monty and he's gonna just go sky high. And then all of a sudden I only see 1 kill in the kill feed. Just very confused. I'm like, where'd the C4 go? So Orlando winning that by their shoestrings, very low HP in a 2v2, but they just had the angles, they had the post plant, they played it correctly, and they managed to take that round, but you can't bring Blitz and Monty forever and assume it'll keep working. Chicago are definitely going to have answers for you next time around. In fact, they have 4 C4s in order to stop you in your tracks if you decide to play double shield again. That's not Orlando's method of attack this time. Instead, it's going to be a much more conventional push, but no hard breach except for the secondary hard breach gadget is going to be brought by Zero and Buck. Instead, it's going to be a Thatcher for hard breach gadgets. Sorry, only 2. Zero opting for Claymores. So, 2 hard breach gadgets to get any vertical control you want alongside the Buck. So, they're really playing into this top 4 control, and they're going to try to leverage it and go down, push Chicago out of sight, and then get the plant down and hold it above the pooch. The first spawn kill of the map, and it might be the last.
Big pick onto the Nomad too, not going to be able to control the roamers now with that air jab. And from the Invictus, I'm a little surprised they didn't go back to Monty. They got that diffuser down so quickly, so efficiently, and now it's just not an option. Warden shooting through the window, not going to land any damage. Spray's only going to give their location away, but all of Invictus pushing through first floor on this east side of the map. It's an entirely different take we're seeing here from the offense. Mozzie might be able to do something about it. Looking around a corner, has an angle through a window. I don't know if he knows all 4 members of the Invictus are over here. Gonna look for something. Anything straying into that open lobby. Gonna avoid sightlines. Sees a Zero. Shot's gonna ring out. Gonna give away the Mozzie's position. They might be able to box him in. 1 goes to the window. 1 is able to clean it up. That's gonna be Quizzy getting the kill. They know this Warden's still upstairs though. Invictus can't sleep soundly. Now Steptronic sleeping with the fishies. Scatter gets a nice shot there. The Doc, everyone's still on full HP, so Stim's unused. And Quizzy's just into sight? I guess why not? X9 picks up McLovin. Diffuser's going down, but you only have 2 people alive. Do the Invictus have the manpower to stop this one? Looks away right as they see the Cade. 1 headshot rings out. They'll barely misses a second onto the member and vents. But both kills, Scatter and X9. Chicago gets the diffuser. Chicago gets the win, and Chicago stay in the upper bracket.
They turned 39 into 47. Chicago, a 47 plus round differential, including main season and postseason so far, and they're racking it up. They're making it look so simple and easy. They made Orlando look like amateurs almost. 7-3, 7-3 is not the scoreline you expect from a playoffs team, and that's not on Orlando's fault. Orlando played correctly. They played very well, but just Chicago so far ahead, and they understand each other as a team. They play really well together. They understood the maps they were going to. They played that correctly, and they just were winning every gunfight. Everyone in their flow state, firing on all cylinders. Whatever you want to use for that analogy, they had it all. And they use it to go 2-0 and move on into semifinals already. That was their first game this postseason, and they're already in semifinals.
And I think one thing that you highlighted briefly there, but it's really important to mention, as much as the momentum was with the Playmakers, it was their game to win. Orlando didn't have a bad game. It wasn't outstanding, but there were moments there. I think, like you said, it was much more a case of Chicago just coming out and being insane. The Invictus, if you're looking towards the future, obviously now in the lower bracket, so gonna have to fight your way back. But there's things they can build on. They had moments. The gun skill, which I think we were a little bit more critical of game one, really came alive game two. We saw a lot of nice trades there, both offense and defense. So there's things to build on. Certainly not all is lost, but for the Playmakers, looking ahead, I know some people thought because of the weaker division, maybe not one of the convincing number one seeds. After this game, though, you gotta believe it. Some of the best attacking we've seen this season.
Yeah, Orlando are from Southern Division, and they got second place in a division with Miami Neon and Las Vegas Sevens. Now, those aren't weak teams at all. In fact, I believe both of them are in semifinals right now. Miami battled all the way through it, and Las Vegas, they got their quarterfinals. I believe Las Vegas are still in quarterfinals. Let me double check the bracket. Yeah, Las Vegas are still in quarterfinals. They haven't played a game yet. But Miami have battled back, and they are now in semifinals already because they're a strong team. And Orlando played really well in Southern Division, and now they go up against Chicago, and Chicago, is just another day in the office for them. So it remains to be seen. Maybe it was just a bad game from Orlando, but I'm really looking forward to what Chicago bring in the near future.
Hard not to. They did such a good job that game. And speaking of players that did a good job, we got Sprays now joining us for an interview, of course, with the Chicago Playmakers. And I'm sure we're going to get more in depth later. But just right out of the gates, how does it feel to get that upper bracket win?
Pretty solid, We're ready to move on, ready for the next round.
Glad to hear it. You all looked really convincing. And I think one thing I wanted to ask, because I know we talked a lot about it, seeing your all pace on attack was kind of insane. We don't normally see teams get into the building that fast, try to execute that fast. It seems like it was a lot more kind of gun and skill heavy than more just concrete strats, really like biding your time. Is that something you guys always do, or was this just something you thought you could take advantage of with Orlando, or kind of walk me through the thought process on offense?
I mean, it always depends on the map. We like our certain takes that we do, get the pre-placed drones, walk in, just play off each other. But usually depends on the map. I mean, Border, it's a pretty quick map. And, there's not much. There's just 2 floors. You don't have to worry about the flank watches. And we know this team doesn't flank too much, so we knew we could get in there pretty easy, and they're going to sit site for the most part. So we knew we could just play off of frags.
You all got those frags really convincingly. And then I think one more question before I'll pass it off to Terry, who I'm sure has a few. I want to know, what was the comms like? Because on the desk, we didn't know how much chance I had. The 1v4 post-plant clutch, just how big was that moment in that game number 2 win? Because from watching it, it felt incredible.
Oh, it was definitely good. I mean, X9 is great at those things. He might not be always a top fragger, but when it comes down to those 1v3s, 1v4s, he's the guy to clutch those. And, we were all hyped, So, yeah.
Yeah, that does it for me. Terry, you got some stuff?
Yeah, I do. First off, great game. You were fragging out there. Map 1, you almost hit 20 kills, I think. So, obviously, you were really good at being the spearhead this game. Is that normally how things go, or are you usually at spearhead? I saw you playing more utility operators, especially on defense. Is that your role, entry frag?
Now technically X9's our entry frag, but we kind of share it between me and him and Pooch. We all kind of hop on that fragger role. and we just play off each other, call out stuff, and just work it through.
And my question, and this is also a question for Fisher, but you have a round differential currently, 47, including tournament and main season. What do you
I
think
like
that
it.
number is going to end at? What's your guess?
It's a 47 round differential.
So far, what do you think you're going to end the tournament with?
There's definitely. I mean, with going this deep, I mean, it'll definitely get up higher than that. That's for sure. I mean, it's going to be getting harder up in the upper bracket, of course. Anything below, all right, anything below 50, I don't think we're getting above 50 for the end of it. But as long as we're above 30 by the end, I think that's a good round differential.
Okay. Because I think personally, y'all can break 60. I think y'all got it in y'all.
Possibly. It just depends on this next matchup.
All right. Do you have a preference actually for your next matchup? Because it looks like Las Vegas Sevens and Oslo squaring up. They're going to be your next team to beat. And if I'm not mistaken, Oslo was in your division. So that's a matchup that you know fairly well. What about Las Vegas Sevens? How do you feel playing up against them?
I know my team has scrimmed them once, but I wasn't there, which I'm the IGL, and it was kind of weird not being in the game. And I know my team did pretty well against them, and so I'm confident if we have to go up against Las Vegas Sevens, and I'm confident if we go against Oslo. I mean, we're up 2-0 on them for the league, so I'm confident in both those games. We just got to put our heads down and keep working.
All right. That's it for me. Do you have anything you'd like to say before we end it off?
Man, shout out to Bit for that one tap with the pistol. X-Time to 1v4. Those are my boys.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, Sprays, for joining us. Congrats on your win, and of course, good luck with the rest of your tournament. Hope to see the Playmakers make a deep run. And thank you, everybody watching. That's going to wrap it up for us today. Chicago Playmakers get the upper bracket win, stay alive 2-0 over the Invictus, now fall to the lower bracket. Once again, I've been Kingfisher with Terry, and of course, Vac, the commissioner, on production. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Make sure you keep an eye to the Discord. Stay tuned in. We're going to have more playoff action coming at you very soon.